That is what they are playing for, ladies and gentlemen. Championships of the 2016 Red River Rugby Championship, live from Huntsfield in Austin, Texas. So pleased you could join us here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, powered by T5RDG. Kit McConico, Grant Cole with you. And Grant, what a day we have on tap. First, the men's Division III final, the Euless Texans against the Austin Blacks D3 side. Two very different teams. Euless, they're a young team. Maybe not the experience that the Blacks have. They're big, they're powerful. For the Blacks, we said it older. That is what they are playing for, ladies and gentlemen. Championships of the 2016 Red.
One way or the other, and it may even depend on the weather. If it gets slick out here with the ball handling, it's not going to go in Austin's favor. It's going to go in the favor of the Euless Texans, because all they need to do is play a first receiver match and drive forward.
We are looking forward to this one. As we mentioned, two very different sides for the Blacks. Pretty much everyone over the age of 30, a lot of experience, an average of 12 and a half years of rugby playing experience, in fact, an average weight of just 205 pounds. For the side from Euless, they're big boys, 240 pounds on average. They're young, 24 years average age, 4 years playing experience, and as you mentioned, the weather may well play a factor. Right now, a very nice 73 degrees Fahrenheit, expecting a high of around 81, but there's also an 80% chance of rain coming this afternoon starting at 1 p.m. If that precipitation does indeed fall, who does that favor in this one?
It's going to favor the Texans in this one. However, the Austin Blacks, you can't count them out, because these guys do know how to change their game plan to suit the situation.
The winner goes to Tucson for the D3 final. Our referee for today, Timmy O'Gara, his second final in as many weeks.
That's correct. He got to do the Rugby Texas final between Austin powerhouses Westlake and Lake Travis, which Westlake won by a point.
Third consecutive state champion for the Chaparrals, I may add.
That's correct. And so Timmy's been getting a lot of experience here lately. It looks like he's got John Savage and Joy Swatzel as his ARs, two very experienced refs, one older experience on one side, Joy Swatzel, the up-and-comer, on the other side. We're going to see Joy Swatzel a lot in the coming years. And so it's going to be an exciting match. It's going to be well handled, and we should have a lot of fun here in the next few minutes.
The Blacks, as you might expect, in the black, going from left to right in the first 40 minutes. The visitors from Euless, they are in the forest green. With the black are the Texans. The tight five for the Texans: Paul Ole, Sam Tanifa, James Cabreros Jr. There's some big boys there. And the lock, number 5, Lee Foliaki, former Texas A&M University linebacker. He's going to be going up against a former University of Texas running back, Sam Arena. So a little bit of a, we'll say, a competition there that guys have seen each other previously.
I don't think those two don't know the others on the field. They're very well aware of where each other's at. They know they come from rival schools and rival programs, and now they're out here on the rugby field, ready and willing to prove themselves.
Underway, men's D3 final, 2016 Red River Rugby Championships, live from Huntsfield, just east of downtown Austin, powered by T5RDG. Back to Juricevic, coach for the Blacks D1 side. He sends it long.
And Brian Talomi catches it. You're going to see Juricevic using that kick a lot here in the first half with the wind at his back, so he can get it downfield and perhaps get the Blacks into the Texans into the field.
Texans moving quickly, have a weight advantage in that tight five. We'll see if they elect to keep things close. As we mentioned yesterday in their semifinal, they trailed 20-0 at the half, scored all 26 points in the second half for that victory over the wildly experienced Grays of San Marcos. And it seemed to me that Euless, they got stronger as the game progressed. They got the ball out wide. Guys like Sammy Soni, Sharkey, very good with the ball in his hands.
And, you know, that's probably what it's going to come down to, is the Blacks are not going to be able to let up at all in the second half. Yesterday against the Henchmen, they were able to take about a 15-minute breather, slow the game down, and they're not going to be able to do this at all today at any point, because the Texans aren't going to let up on them.
So pleased you could join us here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube page, streaming live from Huns Rugby Field in the capital of the great state of Texas. And a happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there as well. We'd be remiss, and so glad you could spend some of it watching a little rugby with us to start things off. Hope you are being pampered, have your feet up, and watching some rugby with us this morning.
We got 3 minutes into the match before the first penalty was called, and it looks like we're going to see a kick for touch here.
Indeed, it will be a kick for touch. There is the fly half, Mafu, and he's going to send that one down. Giving chase, picked up by Vandermeulen.
That was Michael Taylor with the pickup, and Taylor got lucky there. He almost knocked it forward. It came out of his hands and then went sideways.
At the 22-meter line for the Blacks, back in the hands of Juricevic. He's going to send it into touch the other way, almost finding our camera in the process. So line out coming for the Euless Texans. You mentioned that Euless side, a lot of gentlemen of Tongan ancestry, as you might expect. A lot of guys who played for that famous Euless Trinity Trojan football program. Very good athletes. Still new to rugby, a lot of them, but you see the athletic prowess early in this one.
Definitely, definitely. They look like a team that can really run. If it gets wet today, love to see them just going straight and running hard.
Line out coming. Well taken by the Texans. Pushing forward in the ruck. My apologies, that ball not on the ground, so the maul there, and a quick whistle from the man in the middle, Timmy O'Gara.
Was a side entry by the Blacks to the maul.
Ilamahe, the flanker, now spun out. Black down on the pitch, a quick whistle. You already see the difference in physicality right now. The younger, bigger Texans really trying to take it to the Blacks, establish that physical dominance early here.
We've got what looks like a pretty serious injury on the field here.
Yeah, you never want to speculate in situations such as this. Rugby, a very physical game, as we all know, and slow to get on his feet. Is that blindside flanker, the man we mentioned earlier, former University of Texas running back Sam Arias.
Sam's coming off a hamstring injury and recovered it pretty good, so this may be what it is. He may have re-injured that hammy.
Arias being attended to by the training staff. Again, we take the opportunity to welcome all of you to Austin, Texas, usually the live music capital of the world. For this weekend, it's the rugby epicenter of the Lone Star State. Kit McConico, Grant Cole with you.
And that is exactly what the Huns want this to be here at Huns Field. They want this to be the rugby epicenter of Texas.
Well, they are doing a very good job of that, recently announcing their plans to be a professional rugby franchise, as Arias being assisted off the pitch. We will get you information on his injury as it becomes available to us. Right now, early in this one, it has been a very physical contest. As we mentioned, a stiff breeze in the face of the Texans, and there is a Texan down on the pitch as well. Number 22, Ila Maile, the flanker, now back up on his feet.
You got to wonder if Maila and Arias didn't have a connection there that was violent.
Yeah, they're both trying to get on the end of that 50-50 ball, and sometimes that's the most dangerous situation.
It is.
So as always, the man in the middle, Timmy O'Gara, making sure everything is on the up and up. We have phenomenal officials here, the best in the state, as you might imagine, for this competition.
Well, one of the things Butch Neuenschwander told me last night, Butch is the president of the Texas Rugby Referees Association. He said this is the first time in history here that they've had a C1 level ref at every finals match in the Red River or Texas Rugby Union.
And Grant, for those of our viewers newer to rugby, what is a C1 level ref? What does that entail?
So once you start off at a C4 and you move up C3, C2, C1, C1 means you're the best referee in your association. That's not at the regional level. The next step up is the B panel. That means you'll be able to referee high-level regional matches. And then the next level up from that's the national panel, and which we don't have any national panel refs out here today. But once you get to the national panel, you're traveling all over the country to referee matches.
Scrum to the Texans. Vae Avelo goes by Vahe, and for that we thank him. Out to the far side. Texans moving quickly, ahead of steam. Out it comes.
Solid making of the gain line by the Texans.
Closing in on that 22-meter line is Euless. Still no score. Looking for the first points of the game. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. Winner headed to Tucson.
One thing I like about what I'm seeing out of this Euless team is every time they make contact, they keep going for that extra meter or two. They don't stop just at the contact. Momentum keeps them going. Their legs keep them going. Austin's going to have to tackle these guys around the legs to stop them, and they're getting low enough. It's making it difficult for Austin to actually stop that.
The lock, Big Charles Talfa bowling forward there. Saw him yesterday. Very impressive with those 3-4 meter runs up the middle. You mentioned yards after contact, very similar to football. I mentioned a lot of these guys, ex-football players, they understand that. You don't go down on initial contact. You keep going until you actually are on the ground.
Well, a lot of these guys out here are former LD Bell High School or Trinity High School football players.
Good football there in the mid-cities.
And those guys are not allowed to stop when they get hit at that program. You know, Brian Potomi's out there kicking into the wind right in front of the post. Got to watch him kick a little bit this morning into the wind, and he was pretty solid from distance. This one 23 meters out. He's got a good chance of making it.
Opportunity here for the Euless native, Tommy. Just a 2-year veteran of the rugby game. We mentioned experience on the side of the Blacks, just an average of 4.5 years rugby experience for the Texans, but a chance to get on the board first, just outside the 22-meter line, but wind in the face of the fullback for the Texans. Can he put them on top? The kick is up, but not on line. Pushed it wide right, did Tommy, and still scoreless early in this one.
So the Blacks will come up with a 22-meter drop kick. You got to think that Juricevic is going to drive this one downfield, get it into the other side of the field, and make the Texans work again to get back to this side.
Yeah, you mentioned Tane Juricevic, fly half and Division I coach for the Blacks side, former Scottish player.
Yeah, he played with the Scottish Sevens teams in the European competitions. Never got to be in the IRB or World Rugby Sevens. Oh, he's going to go for the short one in the run. They're going to maintain possession here.
Taken quickly by Juricevic. Blacks looking for some possession. As you mentioned, they've seen very little of the ball offensively. Back to Juricevic. Sends it via the boot. Down the pitch, over the head it went that time. Unable to get a hand on it was the wing Lalo.
Favorable bounce for the Blacks there, and gets it into the Texans into the field.
So a change of field position. Line out coming for the Texans. Beautiful facility just east of downtown Austin off of Highway 183 and MLK here in Austin, Texas. Our most sincere thanks to the Huns for hosting this event. They've been phenomenal hosts. One thing about rugby, you know that after the game there's going to be a big gathering, certainly one yesterday, expect another today, is taken by the Texans. And just as quickly after the tap back, the whistle blows. Did that go down the middle?
No, it did not go down the middle. It's not straight. The Blacks are being given a decision where they line out, and they're going to take the line out here.
So the Blacks now with an opportunity via the line out.
I really don't blame them.
Certainly have a height advantage, does Austin. We'll see if they can take advantage of that here in the line out. Played back, tipped back. Now Austin into the hands of Juricevic. Quickly.
You put Jacob Works out in that back line, slot him in. Claude Linney and Derek Watson were solid on the lineouts yesterday. And when you're coming up against a bigger team like this, don't take the scrum. It just tire you out. Go for the lineouts early, make the gain line, and then move forward.
Yeah, you mentioned that midfield for the Blacks of Austin Byrne and Evan Vandermeulen. Very impressive yesterday, as were the locks, Linney and Watson. Well, excuse me, the lock Linney and the blindside flanker Watson. Very involved, and they're going to have to be today.
It looks like Jacob Wirtz is down on that contact point.
So Wirtz down is the number 8. 15-year rugby veteran, native of Orlando, former
fighting Texas Aggie.
There you go. I was going to let you say that. I said that so many times yesterday with my partner and former fighting Texas Aggie, Justin Simmons. He pretty much knew what that cue meant when I just left it hanging.
Well, there's one thing about this tournament. We started counting up. There were 24 Texas State University alumni starting out in this tournament yesterday. 19 Aggies in this tournament.
Just shows how good rugby is, the growth of rugby. And Grant, we take the opportunity to speak about that. The growth of rugby here in the state of Texas, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. I could talk about it all day long, and I have. I have. It's amazing what's happening here at Huns, at the Blacks Field. Both these clubs are storied. They have a long history of training up youngsters into rugby. Plus, they're bringing multiple grades. Both clubs run a D1, D2, and D3 grade club. The Huns also host the Austin Valkyries, the women's team here in town. They're up to a full 2 sides now.
Into touch goes the kick. We'll get back to that. Have plenty of time to talk about that and talk about the Blacks Division 1 side being national runner-up last year in club rugby. But now to the line-out we go for Austin. Coming over to take it is Claude Linney, the aforementioned played in quickly.
Looked like Derek Watson with the take.
Blacks with an opportunity. Ball on the turf and into the hands of the Texans. Here come the Texans the other way. Big Talfa. Charles Talfa, the offload. Texans moving quickly, elected to cut it back in. They had some room here to the near side.
Yeah, Faliaki, man, he just drove forward and made about three people contacted him. He didn't even get stopped, much less not go down. That's a beast right there.
Yeah, Faliaki, number 5, the combination of he and Talfa. Those 2 locks, those are some large men that can move quickly. A lot of time your lock's not as involved. Certainly not the case for Euless. Back it goes off the hands of Lola Tonga, the 8-man. Moving quickly, sensing an opportunity are the Texans over the midfield line.
And the Blacks are responding by their defense seems to be reorganizing a little bit slow here, and that's something they're gonna have to fix quickly.
Oh, good tackle there. Morgan able to bring down the Texan ball carrier. Now big Charles Talfa pulling forward. Takes 3 Blacks to eventually take him to ground. Foliaki and Talfa, that combination, very impressive.
It's not often you see locks as a combination from breakdown play in the back line.
Certainly not moving the way that these gentlemen do. We mentioned it, but it bears repeating. Youth on the side of the Texans team. Fatigue, you've got to think, will be less of a factor. Oh, beautiful offload right there, and here comes Euless. Moving quickly down the sideline.
Brenda Pahulu.
Into the hands of Pahulu. Pahulu down, dots it down for the try. First points of the game go to Euless.
Try time Euless Texans. That was just real steady work. Multiple phase ball. Work the ball out to where you have the strength at in the running. Pahulu, huge guy. You really put him up against Michael Taylor, and it's just not a matchup at all. 240 pounds against 185 pounds. He's able to fend him off, turn the corner, and he's in for the try time.
Yeah, Pahulu, the former University of Houston Cougar young man, another Euless product is Pahulu. And now a 5-point lead for the Texans. Can they make it 7? Potomac, an opportunity here, kicking right into the teeth of the wind. It's a very difficult conversion. Right, Potomac lines it up. His kick has the distance, but again pushed wide right. So 5-0 stays the scoreline in favor of Euless.
And Euless is going to have to do a lot of work to keep this up. The Blacks are not going to go gently into that good night. They're going to make sure they know that they're down. They know that they need some points. Looks like they brought some fresh legs in the field, and Maddie Graves, another Aggie, replacing Jacob Worse. So it's going to be a knuckle and toe fight here.
And Grant, you saw the speed of the Texans. Pahulu had it here to the near side. No one was going to catch him in that one-on-one situation.
And who wants to get in front of that?
That's exactly right. Talk about a freight train, a runaway freight train going down the tracks. Wind starting to kick up here, and Got a feeling that the inclement weather on the way as well. As we said, an 80% chance of rain at about 1 p.m. this afternoon. It may well reach us before that. Right now, very pleasant temperature, about 75 degrees. A stiff breeze in the face of the Texans, and they're looking to add to their 5-0 lead.
You know, one thing about the Texans that surprised me is they're playing a lot more patient game than I expected them to play. I expected with the youth and the inexperience, they were just going to go, and create more mistakes. And it just hadn't been that way. It's been the Blacks who have been ill-disciplined this morning.
I'll tell you one thing, Grant, watching Euless play yesterday, they were down to San Marcos 20-0 at half. They regrouped at halftime. They were on a different page, a tale of two halves for the Texans. Came out in the second. They were much more methodical. They knew what they wanted to do. They executed, scored 26 straight points to put them in today's final.
And that right there is a testament to just what they can do.
Sharkey takes the kick for the Texans on the far side. Busting forward, opportunity, nothing but green grass and fresh air in front of the Texan. Will he be caught? Taylor chasing, will not get to him. Dutton there as well, neither will find the Texan as he dots it down. Now 10-0, Euless on top of the Blacks D3.
And the Blacks have got to be wondering what's happening here. This is not what they're used to this year. They're undefeated up to this point. They haven't lost a single game, and they've played these guys before, Kit. So they got to be wondering what's going on. What happened to this Euless team that we played before and wasn't like this?
Yeah, beautiful work right there, Ila Mahe. Nobody was going to catch him. Brendan Bahulu had the first try. You mentioned the size. We neglected to mention the speed. These guys,
and we haven't
certainly
even really seen their speedsters cut out.
Nah, as you mentioned, haven't seen guys like Sharkey yet. Potomi, Lalo, Kava, the outside center. So far, they have yet to be a factor, and that's bad news for the Blacks.
It's almost like they're holding back, saying, hey, you know, we're going to use our strength first, and then once we tire them down, then we're going to feed it out to our speedsters.
Potomi's conversion, up and through. Adds another 2 points to now 12-0 in favor of Euless here in the first half. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. As we said, the winner headed to Tucson. Well, Grant, what do the Blacks have to do? They're seemingly shell-shocked is the local side.
First thing they got to do is shore up their defense, make sure they're making their tackles, especially on the counters like that. That one counter, little short kick on a penalty kick, they thought it was going to touch. The wind caught it. The Texan got underneath it first, and it was off to the races. The Blacks were set up to actually getting ready to do a line-out defense instead of having to do a counter defense.
Juricevic caught by Talfa.
That's
Talfa takes two Blacks with him as he goes to ground. No one is going to be able to take he or Foliaki down in a one-on-one situation. We've seen that already. Spun out, moving quickly. Bowling forward was Fiilo. Eric Fiilo, the inside center, called his name numerous times in yesterday's semifinal. Another one of those guys yet to get involved. Here come the Texans, smelling blood. Cabreros Jr. intelligently kicking that one through, but the whistle blows.
And the Blacks, they have a chance here now. It's their first scrum of the game. And if they can control this scrum like they did against the Henchmen yesterday, they have a chance to actually turn this into an attacking situation, which is what they need. They haven't been on the attack yet. They put the ball into the Texans' hands several times, and yesterday that worked with the Henchmen, but it's not going to work today with the Texans, obviously. You put the ball into their hands, and when they start counterattacking, they're a handful.
Scrum to the Blacks. And as simple as this seems, you have to have the ball to score, something the Blacks have not had much of today.
And that's not something they're used to.
Team that dominates possession. They're used to taking the lead, not used to playing from behind is Austin. That ball on the turf. Picked up by Talfa. Talfa bowling forward, offloads it here to the near side. Quickly in the hands of Lola Tonga. Now Tomi. At the 5-meter line, Texans sensing more. Can they add to their 12-0 lead? Oh, good tackle there, well defended by the Blacks. Stood up and taken down. Now swung back into the hands of Foliaki. Goes forward. dots it down. Lee Foliaki, former Texas A&M University linebacker, says, "I will not be denied."
And he wasn't. 300 pounds of twisted steel, man, just moving forward.
I know he was not 300 pounds when he was in College Station, but as a running back, that is the last thing you want to see coming at you in the hole. And in rugby, that's the last thing you want to see bowling at you with the ball. Lee Foliaki right there. You see the big man. 3 blacks trying to take him down, none able to do so before he was able to dot it down. Now a 17-0 lead for the Euless Texans.
And you see how determined he is out there to drive forward. Here we go.
Take another look here. Taufa finds himself with it. Taufa through 3 blacks. Beautiful offload right there.
Right there.
Into the hands of Lola Tonga. Tonga finds Tomi, and Tomi, well, he found Foliaki right here. You see Foliaki intelligently just waiting around, able to get himself on it. The conversion is up and good, and the lead extends to 19.
You know, I was working in the athletic department back when Foliaki got transferred into A&M. I was an academic tutor and study hall monitor. And I got to tell you, I watched him play today. He was nothing like he was in study hall. He was a gentleman, nice, made sure he was respectful. But you see him out here today, and oh my goodness.
Grant, something I spoke about yesterday, and one of my favorite things about ruggers, on the field, they are absolute animals. They are beasts. They are the hardest working guys. Off the pitch, they are nice, genteel, polite, well-mannered, yes ma'am, no ma'am. I love it. Some of the greatest guys you're ever going to be around.
Right into Foliaki's hands again.
There goes Taufa now, offloaded. Combination has been very impressive. Those 2 locks, I don't know if I've ever seen a team where the locks get as many touches as this Euless side.
And you know, most teams, those guys aren't even going to be locks. They're going to be playing prop. They're just, I mean, their height isn't what you see in a prop, but with the props that they have, all you need behind those guys is 2 guys who are going to drive. You're not going to need a whole lot of ups in this team. You got a couple of flankers that can get up. Those guys can throw them. So, you know, your locks in this side are going to be in the 6'1", 6'2" range.
Well, scrum to the Texans. Mahe Alvelo, another local product.
They got a good drive. All they needed was a 1-step drive.
See so many of these guys from Euless, from the mid-cities, Bedford, Hearst, all the surrounding areas. HEB, as it is known, Hearst, Euless, Bedford. Mentioned LD Bell, Euless Trinity, very well-known football programs, and for good reason. Going forward is Cabreros Jr. Cabreros Jr., that tight head prop. Oh, in and out of the hands, but picked up by Foliaki, and Foliaki, the stiff arm, takes the black with him.
And that's amazing. You don't see a whole lot of first and second year players looking for the offload and contact like Foliaki.
Another stiff arm, offloaded, beautiful run right there from Paulu.
Sam Tanifa did not release that ball when he took it into contact.
And you mentioned the heads-up play. These guys, a lot of them, their first, second, third year playing rugby, but they understand almost innately what to do. Their head is up. If they're going to go down, they're going to offload the ball.
And that, like I said, that's amazing. I mean, it usually takes a good 4 or 5 years to get somebody taught that to look for the offload. And on this case, they were looking for the offload in the contact. You saw he was running 3 or 4 steps, looking around him. Where am I going to get this to? Not worried about going down. He realized there was green in front of him and wanted the chance to get that ball into space.
Juricevic sends it in to touch. As we mentioned, Tane Juricevic, not only the fly half, also the coach of the Blacks D1 squad, a very busy man. He's almost as involved in rugby as you are, and that's saying something.
Juricevic not only coaches the Blacks here, he also coaches Texas State University down the road. And, you know,
all rugby all the time for Tane.
Yeah, that's his life.
Here's Foliaki. Oh, what a move by the big man. Still with it, drops it back. Very rarely will you see a 300-pounder be able to sidestep a tackle like that.
That's you got to love it when they're running to space like that.
Back to Foliaki.
That's the key towards getting that extra meter after contact.
Pahulu out quickly. Cabreros Jr., tight head prop, offloads it here to the near side. Pahulu into the hands. Hog, beautiful cutback, fantastic tackle that time from Dutton.
That's Vakamialalo. that guy's got some speed.
Talfa now.
Looks like he took a knee to the head in that tackle.
Yeah, Vakamiya Lalo goes by Lalo. Again, we thank him for that. I made sure to go over to the Trinity side, or the Texans side. And they gave me the nicknames to make my job easier. For that, I thank them. Oh, good tackle that time. You saw the tight head prop, Domkowski, in on it.
So Timmy O'Gara is coming back to an advantage that he had, penalty advantage he had on, where a black had committed a side entry at the breakdown. You talk about the names of the Texans. Nigel Starmer-Smith was a long-time commentator in Sevens Rugby, in RB Sevens Rugby, and he had a nice little idea about how to learn how to pronounce these names quickly. And it's just imagine that they're running at you from 20 meters away and are going to tackle you if you don't get their name right.
Oh, that'll make you get the name right. That much I assure you. That is the last thing in the world you want, is one of these very large, fast gentlemen coming at you to tackle you if you don't pronounce his name correctly.
Paul Domkowski's down for the Blacks.
A lot of vowels in a short space.
Paul had a monster game yesterday at the breakdown for the Blacks. He was instrumental in their scrums yesterday, and if he's got to go down, that's going to be if he's got to go off, that's going to be a real loss for the Blacks.
So Sam Tanifa, the hook, with it here on the near side, waiting for our training staff to check on the tight head prop for the Blacks.
You know, while we're in this break, we've talked before about the Huns facility here. What people don't see is what's going on behind us. There's a field of milkweed behind us, but it's not going to be milkweed for long because there's plans for a stadium to go in right there.
The hackberry trees have been cut out. The milkweed remains, but not for long. There's going to be a professional rugby stadium right behind us. So those of you fellow Austinites like myself that complain we don't have a professional sports team, we are going to. It is just a matter of time. Come out here, support local rugby. And Grant, the thing that I always thank you about, you are the voice, the champion of Texas rugby. It doesn't matter where it is. You're out at the high school games. You're out at the middle school games. Always trying to support local rugby. Always trying to put it in the forefront.
Well, without people knowing about it, it's never going to be in the forefront. And so that's just the one thing I'm trying to do. Really, all the work I do, I try to do for the guys that are on the pitch. Because we can have referees, we can have coaches, but we can have a pitch and balls. But if we don't have the guys that are out there playing the game, we don't have the game. They deserve the recognition for all the hard work they put in.
Tanifa ready with the line out, is the hooker for the Texans. As you mentioned, not a height advantage for Euless. One of the few places they do not have an advantage. As that is over the head, tipped back by the Blacks. Throw too long for the intended target. Tanifa wisely watches it into touch.
And, you know, Tanifa is not, he's only been playing for 2 years. And
he's not the biggest guy, only 6'2", about 220 pounds, one of the smaller guys on the Texans side.
And you watch what he did there. At 21 years old, 2 years in the sport, and he is smart enough to let the ball bounce out and regain possession. That's unheard of. That's some rugby now.
Tipped back into the hands of the Blacks. Blacks with it.
Sebastian Sika with a nice take comes in to replace Domkowski.
Yeah, Sika, the native Arizona from Scottsdale, Arizona, I should say. He'd love to be in Tucson for the final as that goes into touch.
Juricevic wanted to put that a bit farther downfield, but had a man coming on the charge down and wasn't allowed to. He got it to Taylor, and Taylor had a short kick. Relieved pressure, but not much.
As you mentioned, just such great rugby knowledge, good wherewithal for only the 2-year player in Tanifa, set to send it back in.
The Blacks got to know they've got a real fight on their hand right now.
Blacks trailing 19-0 here in the first half. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Division III men's final. Another line out taken by the Blacks, their third in a row. But yet to put points on the board as Juricevic sends that one down, looking to change field position. Fielded by Lalo. Lalo, nice cut back. He's pulled down. Ball bounces out into the hands of Juricevic. Austin at the midfield line. Ball on the turf. And so far, the last 10 minutes have all been played in the Austin defensive end.
Vakamialalo did well to take that ball, run it upfield, but he wasn't looking for support. And that may be a little bit of his inexperience there. He was trying to take it back in the middle. That's smart, but not looking for some of the support he had, and that's something he's going to have to learn to do. He's all that speed, and he can slip through a tackle and look for support. He's going to put the Texans on the front foot a lot more.
Yeah, Vakamialalo goes by Lalo, one of the more experienced Texans. He's been playing for 16 years, but I think that time just happy to see the ball in his hands as he headed forward, really didn't wait for help. Now the scrum to Euless. Final 5 minutes of the first half. Texans lead the Blacks D3 side 19-0. Live from the Huns Rugby facility here in Austin, Texas, on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, powered by T5RDG. For more information, just go to T5RDG.com. Kit McConico, Grant Cole with you, and been treated to some phenomenal rugby. The first of 3 games on tap for today. We will have Division II men coming up next, and then Division I women for our final game today.
I'll tell you one thing I'm seeing out there that I'm not used to is I'm seeing Blacks who normally are up and after it.
There's Sharkey with the offload. Good heads-up play. Here come the Texans back. Ball on the turf. Sharkey unable to get a hand to it. First time we've been able to call the name of Sharkey, known as given name Samisoni Unga.
Blacks have a knock-on advantage here, but they kicked it away.
Back to Potomac.
It's not the best of kicks. It did not get out of their half of the field.
Inside the 22-meter line. Texans want to add to their lead before the break. They trailed 20-0 at half in yesterday's semifinal. They came back. They know the Blacks can do the same. They want to add to this cushion. The whistle blows by our referee, Timmy O'Gara, on the far side.
It's been knocked on by Tanifa there.
One of the few mistakes we've seen today.
Yes, yes. One of the things I'm seeing is I've seen a lot of Blacks who don't normally move slow are getting up and moving slow early on. Usually their fitness is a key for them, and they're up and fast and moving around. And I'm just seeing something out of the Blacks that I don't normally see, and wondering if how that's gonna affect them in the second half.
Scrum to Austin. You mentioned that. The Blacks known for their fitness, known for being generally the team in better shape. They're the team that likes to win that last 20 minutes from the 60 to the 80 mark. But right now, things being dominated by the Euless Texans. Back it goes. Juricevic finds himself with it.
But he's got a penalty.
Juricevic about to put the boot to it to send it the other way, but as you mentioned, the whistle blew.
Euless Texan unbound early from the scrum before the ball was out, and you've got to stay bound into the scrum. And he unbound early. You could see Timmy O'Gara tell him, hey, you've unbound early, stay back. He didn't stay back, kept going. Juricevic just stepped out of the back of the end goal and was able to gain a penalty advantage there.
Juricevic sending his kick into touch. Final minute or so of the first half. Again, all time kept by the referee. He is our official timekeeper, up to his discretion.
He's had at least 3 injury times, so this may go a little bit longer than 40 minutes. You know, normally a half would be.
Line out to Austin. They've done very well in these situations. Another line out one here by the Blacks.
Ryan Little's finally got clean ball at the base of a ruck. He hasn't had that today.
Another quick whistle. Austin moving quickly, trying to take advantage, maybe a bit too quickly.
And I'm trying to find out what this penalty is here. Offsides. Offsides at the lineout. The Texans had come up too early in their back line, and that's why O'Gara had brought it up here another 10 meters.
That kick will find itself into touch.
A lot of times when there's a line out, you'll see the referee standing back with his arm up to the defensive team. That means they need to stay there until his arm comes down. He hasn't seen the ball move beyond the gain line. But once his arm goes down and he says the line out's off, then they can come up to their defensive position. Texans came up early there before he had his hand down, and that's what the penalty was for.
The line out for the Blacks as Pena goes to get it. Pena, the 27-year-old native Houstonian. We mentioned the one of the big losses for the Blacks is Sam Arias. His injury yet to be able to return. It does not appear that he will be able to, so certainly affecting the Austin side with his absence. Now Juricevic sends it back into the hands of Bird.
Vandermeulen in there making the gain line by running the space, and that's what he did yesterday, and he's so dangerous at that. He likes to stay out of contact, hit the space, and then he looks for Byrne or for Juricevic in support. Pena knocked on in contact there.
Nothing going the way of the local side. The Blacks, even though we're here at the Huns field, still the local team. Their field just a few miles up the road. A lot of fans in attendance supporting the Austin Blacks, and a lot have made the trip down from the mid-cities as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's one thing I've been impressed with, all the support. It's Mother's Day weekend. A lot of moms out here choosing to celebrate it with us, and for that we thank them.
Happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there.
Absolutely. Thank you for indulging us, putting up with us and everything. I'll leave it at that. We're very lucky to have the mothers we do. I think we can all agree on that much. Scrum to Austin. Now, the Texans, they're going to send this one into touch. The wind a factor there, not going where I think they were intending, but the wind gusts up to 15, 20 miles an hour. It's been impactful on this game.
And O'Gara's saying that one was taken back into the 22. The breakdown was ahead of the 22. It was passed back into the 22, and the Texans kicked it to touch, so it's straight out on the full. It doesn't go out right where it crossed the plate to touch. It goes out. The line out's taken on a line from where the kick was made at.
Remind you, just our first game of 3 on the day. Hope you'll stick with us for all 3 of those contests. Grant and I will bring you all of those right here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, powered by T5RDG. Again, we're so pleased that you could join us this Sunday, Mother's Day. And the Blacks into the hands of Juricevic. Can they find points before the halftime whistle? Trailing 19-0. Into the hands of Dutton, the fullback. Dutton still with it.
And a rolling maul inside the 22 is netted the Blacks 3 tries yesterday. So this is a good attacking platform for them.
Watson had it momentarily. Going forward, Wirtz.
And I think the Blacks have found out right here that's what they need. They need possession.
Oh, good offload there.
David Reed, or Austin Byrne, excuse me.
Yeah, Byrne into the hand of Vandermeulen.
There's just too many Texans off their feet here, and Timmy O'Gara is going to make sure they know about it. I'm surprised that Juricevic is going for points. He's right in front of the post. I would think he's just going to get the 3. Let's make sure we get on the board here, regroup, come back in the second half. But looks like he wants to try for that rolling ball and get a 5-meter line out so he can take a rolling ball into the try line.
That's exactly what Juricevic electing to do. You think the wind playing a factor? The wind at his back shouldn't be that much of an issue.
It might be the crosswind. Maybe Dutton's not that confident on kicking the touch. Maybe Juricevic just is more confident in his line out, because the Texans line out hasn't been that clean this morning. But the Blacks line out yesterday was solid.
Yeah, the Blacks have dominated the line out.
Put
Another
Watson
one here.
Watson's been clean on his takes all weekend.
Inside the 5-meter line. Blacks looking for first points of the game.
They've got the ball at the back there, and
diving over, Reed. Dotted down, try Austin.
David Reed right in position to get the try. That's how you do a rolling ball. Finally, Juricevic taking the gamble paying off. 5 points to the Blacks.
So the Blacks able to get on the board before halftime. Now a 14-point deficit. Austin trails Euless 19-5. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. And Grant, you cannot overemphasize what a gamble that was by Juricevic, but it paid off.
It did pay off, and this is what they did yesterday to the henchmen. They push with that rolling maul. They didn't get a try off the rolling maul like they did here. They had to move it out to the back line, but they found a way to be successful with the rolling maul here today, and they drove off, and Reed just slips in from the left side after they turned it just slightly.
Now Dutton, the fullback, native Austinite, did not miss a kick with the wind at his back yesterday. Hoping to continue that streak today. The crosswind, oh, it's going to affect this. We'll see how Dutton is able to handle it.
Dutton was steady into the wind yesterday, but this is a different wind today. It's a little bit more gusty, and the wind's just changed direction just now.
Lines it up, addresses the kick.
Nope.
Has the distance, but not between the uprights. Goes right, does the kick, so stays at a 14-point deficit. Austin trailing Euless 19-5 late in the first half.
And when that wind was, when he lined up that kick, wind was coming left to right off the pitch. Right when he went to take the kick, we got some gusts coming top to bottom across the pitch on us. And that may have affected, they pushed it off to the right on him.
Yeah, those wind gusts really kicking up, and we have a feeling that precipitation is going to follow very shortly.
And Lala is going to need to be careful here on this restart, in that may push it straight in the touch. He's going to need to make sure just what he did, kicks it right down the middle of the field to Watson.
Yeah, well kicked by Lalo. Watson, the receiver. And now the Blacks, a bit of momentum on their side. If they found their first points of the game, can they find more before half? On the turf, ball on the far side. Neither team able to come up with it. Finally, ball finding itself into touch.
Dutton taking off on a run before he had the ball in his hand there.
Much like a receiver in football, you got to make the catch before you take off. Have to have the ball secured before, and that's something we all do. You see green grass in front of you, you want to go, well, you've got to secure the ball first.
And that's what happens when you get down, especially a team that hasn't lost any games like the Blacks this year. Haven't lost a single game. They're very confident. They get down by 2 tries, and maybe they get a little impatient with themselves instead of going back to their game plan. Juricevic is going to want to settle down his charges at halftime and say, hey, be patient, play our game plan, go back to that disciplined play, that experienced play we did yesterday, and don't worry about how big these guys are and how fast they are. Let's just play our game, not play theirs.
Scrum to the Texans. Vahe puts it in, and, well, he will not have the opportunity to do so. Was ready to put it in was Vahe Alvelo. A whistle from the man in the middle, Timmy O'Gara. Now the opportunity, just 2 tries and 2 conversions separating the 2 sides.
Alvelo is probably one of the youngest players on the field this weekend at 18.
Very impressive what we've seen from Vahe Alvelo.
But he's had 4 years of rugby with Alliance and the HEB Hurricanes, so he's come up through the ranks in the high school. Now he's playing in the men's level. You look how calm he is, how solid he is in play on the field, always at the breakdown, getting there in a timely manner. This is a kid who's going to be something else when he gets a few more years of age on him playing in club rugby.
The word that you said that sticks out to me, calm. In this frantic game where you have bodies colliding, everything going 1,000 miles a minute, Vahe very calm, reads the situation well, knows what to do when the time comes.
And he's a 190-pound little general, directing all the 300-pound men around the field.
Gotta love it. Start calling him Napoleon. How about that?
There you go. Blacks gain possession there. Ryan Little looking for something.
Kick here, fielded by Lalo. Lalo, some time, some room in front of him. Lalo offloads. Potomi with it. The stiff arm still.
Got to be impressed by everyone looking for the offload there on the Texans side.
Seamafu now into the hands of Fiello. Cutting forward. Texans inside the 22-meter line. Can they add to their lead before the halftime whistle? We mentioned those 3 injury timeouts. Well,
Foliaki again. 3 guys tackled him, and he still finds a way to offload the ball. Amazing.
Yeah, the impressive, we talked about the twinkle toes there of Lee Foliaki. He's able to sidestep a tackler at 300 pounds, but for the former football player, understands the game. Anytime he's about to go down, he's looking to find a teammate to offload it to.
And you don't do that in football, but here he is. He's transitioned over easily. And that's definitely a basketball move. You get in a place where you're a big pit situation, you're going to look to get rid of the ball in basketball, but in football you don't do that. Rugby, That's what you got to do all the time, especially if you're playing a go-forward game like the Texans are playing. You've got to be looking for that offload. Their support staying in close. Maybe they're not as fast in the center of the field when their forwards got the ball. That keeps their forwards close to them, their support team close to them. And then once the offload goes, there's green grass in front of them, and they're off to the races.
Penalty kick coming for Potomac. 21-year-old local product, only his second year in rugby.
He's right about 20 meters out at an angle.
Wind, the crosswind in his face. The kick is up.
It is pushed to the right just a little.
And pushed to the right. The wind is certainly affecting that kick. And there is the whistle for a half. 40 minutes in the books, 40 minutes to play. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship, live from Huns Field in Austin, brought to you on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, powered by T5 RDG. At the break, Euless Texans a 14-point lead, up 19-5 over the Austin Blacks D3 side. Grant, your analysis of the first 40 minutes.
Well, the Texans definitely got off on the front foot, used their speed and their power on the outside to score a couple of tries, then punch back to the inside, let Foliaki get back inside to score a power try, show that that's something they can do. And then once they got that over with, the Blacks decided, hey, we've got to make sure we do something here. They gain possession. That's what they need to do. Gain possession, keep possession, be patient with it, drive it down the field. Juricevic had a chance to go for the kick. He was smart not to do that. You look at the conversion afterwards, it wasn't good. From about the same angle as that kick would have been. Kick the touch, take the 5-meter line out, drive in, they got 5 points. The Blacks are going to have to do more of that. They need that ball in hand. Without ball in hand, the Texans are just going to run them over and run through them.
At the half, Texans up 14. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. Winner headed to Tucson. Second half coming up after this. Moments away from the start of the second half, 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. Euless Texans lead the Austin Blacks Division III side 19-5 at the break. Blacks only points coming in the latter stages of the first half, I should say. Kit McConico, Grant Cole, welcome you back to Austin Huns Rugby Facility here in Austin, Texas, just east of downtown. The live music capital of the world, the Rugby Center of the epicenter of the Lone Star State this weekend. As Tanifa, the hooker, fields the opening kick for the second half. Texans, they were dominant in the first half, and we talked a little bit, but Grant, I pose this to you. What do the Blacks have to do to find their way back into this? They found points, but still haven't had a lot of possession. Possession,
and no tip tackles like that.
The wind kicking up. I think that inclement weather is imminent. We don't know if we'll get through this match without the rain starting to come. Two more matches on tap. Men's Division II final coming up next. And the Women's Division I final to cap things off on this Mother's Day weekend. So pleased you could join us. Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel, powered by T5 RDG. A happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there as the kick goes into touch. Line out coming.
LJ Morgan trying to put his stamp on the game, but it got a little aggressive on there. Had a tip tackle, took his player past 90 when he picked him up, and that's going to net him a quick whistle.
Yeah, cannot bring the player past horizontal.
And unfortunately, he realized what he was doing and let him down easy, so he got past getting a card there.
No yellow cards having been issued thus far. Line out, successfully taken, one of the few that the Texans have been successful with. Been very good, has Euless, but if there has been an issue, it's been in the line out.
The Blacks did well to stop that maul.
Euless powering forward. The Texans in the forest green tops, black shorts. Austin Blacks, as you might imagine, in the black, going from right to left into the wind is Austin.
And we're seeing something here from Austin on their defense. It's a little bit different. They're a little bit more aggressive here at the first half.
Cutting back in, moving quickly. Texans looking for more. Shy of the try line. Ball on the turf.
Pahulu there with a nice step to space, working through, getting down to 5 meters off the goal line.
Blacks with it, trying to get out of the shadow of their own uprights. Physicality ramping up by the second early here in the second half.
Advantage on for the Blacks.
Blacks, opportunity. Can they get the ball to space? Oh, good one-on-one tackle. Sharky Unga able to bring down the Black ball carrier.
No advantage gained by the knock-on or the not rolling away. So it looks like James Cabreros was not rolling away at the tackle there when he tackled Matt Graves. Penalty advantage was on. And the Blacks get a chance to kick it to touch. And they're going to be kicking into the wind, so it's not going to net them a whole lot of purchase.
Juricevic, former Scottish Sevens player, into the teeth of the wind, sends that one into touch. Did a very good job with what he had.
Juricevic, you're playing in Scotland. You got to know how to deal with that wind and kicking past into that wind.
Yeah, some good Scottish weather we're anticipating this afternoon. A little warmer than what our friends there are used to, but the wind, rain coming. Yeah, it's pretty much like Scotland.
The Scottish summer.
Well put, exactly. Temperature just about 72 degrees, stiff breeze.
Solid,
beautiful day.
Solid take by Watson.
Now Juricevic sends it over. Blacks moving quickly, space to the outside. Good, beautiful offload coming through. Another good tackle by Sharky Unga. Blacks building momentum, good phases. Can they get over the midfield stripe, find some points? Still trailing by 14 is Austin.
Blacks have done well to maintain possession, go through some phase play here. Burn.
Opportunity, Austin. Oh, the pass behind the intended recipient.
And that's something that the Blacks did twice yesterday. Van Zermeulen has some errant passes when Dutton was just a little bit farther forward than he needed to be for support.
Oh, and it looks like Dutton was on that line. That may have been a forward pass if Vanderbilt was able to find him. He sent it behind him, and Dutton unable to get back to grab it.
Fortunately for the Blacks, the Texans were offside at the breakdown that started this run, and they've got a penalty advantage here.
It's been a fast and furious match from the opening whistle. We'll see if fatigue becomes an issue as Potomac off the side of his boot, not the kick he was looking for. Fielded by Dutton. Dutton able to spin away initially, but then jugged down by Lalo.
Not sure what the Lalo was ahead of the kicker at the kick.
Lalo knew he was, put his hands up, and showing that he knew the infraction committed, was not going to argue with it.
So the option here is they could take penalty at the point of impact of the ball or scrum and kick, and it looks like the Blacks have wisely chosen to take scrum and kick a few more meters up.
Well, they're going to take the scrum and kick, and you can understand why. You don't want to take this into the teeth of the wind, and the wind, as we said, gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Very difficult for the kickers. Now the scrum coming. 22-meter line on the far side. Little, scrum half set to put it in. Little, the Green Bay, Wisconsin native, one of the few non-native Texans on this side. Out it comes to Juricevic.
They're going to try to use their numbers on the outside.
Dutton. Cini there as well, but another errant pass by the Blacks.
And Teeny was lethal yesterday on the outside like that, but a bad pass like that, and it's just gonna, it's not gonna make it happen.
Sam Tanifa, the hooker, coming over to take the line out. Mentioned not the tallest side are the Texans. Haven't had a lot of success in the lineouts today.
Foliaki's our tallest one at 6'3", and he's not putting anybody up.
Able to come down with it there is Euless, but just as I say that, the whistle blows.
Lola Tonga knew that wasn't in straight. And the Blacks are calling for some subs.
Now, one of the rules, the lineout has to go right down the middle. Teams must jump straight, not allowed to collide and go in. Have to keep.
Excuse me, that's Texans calling for some subs. It looks like Paula Ole's headed off.
Yeah, Paul Ole, that loose head prop coming off.
So fresh legs at loose head props for the Texans.
The Texans adding some fresh legs to that front row.
Tight head prop now, it's slotted in at. So they must have moved some props around.
Scrum to Austin. Little gets it back quickly out to Juricevic.
Taffa has taken that ball out of Little's hands.
Yeah, Charles Taffa, one of those locks, very impressive. Is the big man. Just shy of the 22-meter line is Austin. And now Texans with it on their side of the 22-meter line. Can they add to their 14-point lead?
Eric Fiello did well to keep the ball in hand. He was tackled as he was catching the ball. Probably should have knocked that on in any other situation.
Back to Tanifa. Going forward, gets away from one. Tanifa offloads it. You mentioned Fiello. A big knee to the head there. Eric Fiello for the Texans, very impressive in their come-from-behind victory yesterday in the semifinals.
Rejo Zlaze, the Georgian, was just cleaned off.
Yeah, Reza.
That ruck, and penalty's probably going to go to the Blacks because the Texan left his feet on that clean.
We'll take a look at the replay there. The native of Tbilisi, Georgia, and the yellow card issued. Here is the replay, cleaned off as you said.
Here's Reza setting up,
and
cleaned off,
right there.
His feet. That's Henry Kawafusi, the loose head prop that just came on that has been yellow carded off.
Calfusi on for a matter of minutes was the Salt Lake City native, and now the yellow card will put the Texans down a man for the next 10.
If you've ever played rugby against any of those Georgians, you know they're just as tough as the Polynesians are when it comes to being on the field.
Yeah, great rugby in Georgia. Produced some really good boxers as well.
That's their state sport there is rugby. It's not uncommon for a club match to have 50,000 fans at it.
They're in Eastern Europe, product of the capital city, Tbilisi. Very good athletes in general are the Georgians. Now the Blacks. Over the 22-meter line goes Austin. Moving quickly. Austin looking. Trailing. Graves had it. Oh, in and out of the hands.
Matty Graves lost it first, and now it's a knock-on by Texans is going to come back to a scrum to them.
The Texans back with it after the knock-on. That was a big opportunity for Austin, but unable to come up with anything. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III Final. Winner headed to Tucson. Austin Blacks trailing the Euless Texans 19-5. Again, so pleased you could spend some of your Sunday, your Mother's Day with us. Grant Cole, Kit McConico.
11 minutes into this first half, no score in the second half. No score in the second half yet. Austin's really up their game on the possession. They're attacking inside the Texan space. The Texans haven't had a lot of chances to get down into the Austin area of the field yet.
Yeah, much better performance from the Blacks than we saw in the first half. Whatever Juricevich's halftime speech was, those guys certainly listened. They have come out another side here in the second 40 minutes.
Ball came straight out of the tunnel there. If the ball goes into tunnel, comes straight out of the tunnel, the scrum has to be reset, and that is what Timmy O'Gara is calling for there.
Another quick whistle.
That time we've got a free kick to the Texans. They're going to want to keep this one ball in hand. They understand it's a free kick, but it looks like they may not know that.
Well, the wind really kicking up, blowing our notes all over. You mentioned that affecting the kicking game as that kick finds itself into touch. Line out coming for Tanifa and Euless.
And there's some more substitutions coming on.
We've seen some changes. This has been a very fast-paced match. Momentum moving quickly, and certainly you see fatigue coming on. One of those changes, it'll be James Cabreros Jr., that tight head prop for the Texans coming off, so they make another change in the front row. But as you might imagine, those two locks there, Foliaki and Taufa, they're not going anywhere.
No.
Line out for Austin, excuse me.
That ball, it's a first not straight ball by Austin in a line out. It's a testament to David Reed, who's had a lot of strong throw-ins this whole game, but wind picking up like that, it looks like it pushed it a little. It just did not. All the ball has to do is enter the tunnel straight. If it goes off after that, it's usually okay. That one didn't even enter the tunnel straight.
I think the wind certainly playing a factor there. As we mentioned, flags on the far side, barely hanging on to the mast. Scrum to Euless. Quickly, out it came from Valle. The kick fielded by Dutton.
Dutton put that into space.
Austin able to bring down Sharky Unga. Have not had the opportunity to call his name very often today.
They got to be glad to be able to bring him down and not let him loose.
Texans have elected to keep things more central. Been a few times they've got the ball out to the wide areas. They've been successful, be it in the hands of Pahulu, Unga, whoever the case may be.
Pahulu likes to come back inside, that's for certain.
Now to the other side. Moving quickly into space. Oh, behind Vae. Scrum half was all by his lonesome. He would have had nothing but green grass in front of him, but the offload pass just behind Vahe.
Try to score Fahulu there. Pahulu.
Makes me feel better. You are so perfect at these pronunciations. The one time that you don't get it right, it gives me a little bit of solace. That much I'm going to say. Again, Kit McConico, Grant Cole with you. So pleased that you could join us. First game of 3 on tap for today. Certainly hope you'll stick with us for the entirety. Men's D2, Women's Division 1 to follow. Scrum to Austin. Sent in by Little. Now gets it back. Juricevic. Into Dutton's hands. Dutton around 1, looks to offload, does so nicely.
Finds Finds Vermeulen.
Haven't had the opportunity to call Von Vermeulen and Burns' name very often here in the second half. Juricevic. And a big tackle. Sini sent into touch. Sini, the left wing, one of the few times he's seen the ball.
Very smart use of the 16th defender by Lalo there. Knew he didn't have a whole lot of defenders behind him in support. Couldn't let Teeny get away. Used the touch line, that 16th defender to take him into touch. Let's get the ball back, get possession back that way. Sam
Tanifa, the hooker, right in front of our camera with the number 19 as he takes the line out. Well taken by Euless.
Euless isn't even driving this ball. They're just looking to get it back. Let's maintain it for her.
Out it comes, on to Taufa. Offloads. You mentioned that the Maul, Euless just content to kind of keep things standing where they were. They weren't even pressing forward.
Let's slow it down, maintain possession.
Voliaki able to knock Blacks off the ruck. Vahe into the hands of Lola Tonga.
Lola Tonga has been right there off the side of a rucker maul all day long.
Yeah, the 8-man has been influential all match. Now Sharky Unga on the far side. Unga, time and room. Unga around to 1, still on his feet. Sharky Unga around a second. Unga unable to be brought down. And Sharky Unga offloads at the last minute and brought down at the 5-meter line. What a run from Samasoni Sharky Unga.
Side entry there by Dutton to try and Dutton's going to get talked to because that looked like a cynical penalty.
Unga, the native of San Mateo, California, only his 2nd year playing rugby, and that is a natural.
Yellow card to Dutton. Cynical penalty there. Stop the try.
So Dutton sent off. Yellow card issued to the fullback for the Blacks.
And Dutton did what he had to do there. I mean, you got to stop that penalty. You got to stop that try from happening.
Able to dot it down. No.
Not going in goal. We're going to have a scrum 5 meters out to Austin.
Well, now we'll take a look at that replay there. You saw the cynical yellow being issued, and you see it right here. This is the aftermath.
See how he dives over, loses the ball as he's trying to ground it.
Must be in possession while you're trying to down it. The ball must be down. If there's a hand or a body underneath it, that does not count, is not a try.
And if a hand's over it and not touching it, it's not grounded.
That's a great point as well. Why we pay him the big bucks, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Grant Cole needs no introduction. So pleased to be joined by a man I refer to as the mayor. He introduced me to the president earlier, so surrounded by political royalty.
I look across the field, I see some political royalty across the field. You've got the USA Rugby Club director and the club competitions chairman standing over there chatting with each other on the other side of the field. That's royalty. That's a power.
I believe that is the king and the emperor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That is what we will refer to them as.
Of course, a whole lot of people in town, if they heard you call Alan Sharpley the emperor, they probably not like you a whole lot.
Again, all tongue-in-cheek, I assure you. All tongue-in-cheek. If you can't have fun doing this, you're in the wrong place.
That's correct. Allen's a big servant to the game. 30, 40 years he's been involved in this game. Between him and Bill Towdy, keeping the Blacks on the charging forward as a power team, power club in Texas. You know, you really got to love the dedication of those two guys. They put so much heart, soul, and a fat lot of their wallets into this game as well.
Well, as you can tell, we're certainly enjoying bringing you this. Hope you're having as much fun watching it as we are commentating. Kip McConico, Grant Cole with you. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship, still 14 points separating the Texans and the Blacks Division III side. Men's D3 final, winner off to Arizona. Have not seen a single point scored in the second half.
Not a single point. We're 20 minutes into the second half, 60-minute point. This is where the fitness really comes in. I think the youth and the fitness of Euless Texans should pan out from this point forward, but Austin's in shape too, and you can't say no there. You can't say that they're not going to be fit. Big
tackle. The Blacks drug down just on the other side of their 5-meter line in the shadow of their own uprights.
You don't see Van Zermeulen lose the ball forward like that very often, but the Texans were off their feet at that ruck, so the Blacks are going to take a quick tap and be called back because they didn't take it off the mark.
Mentioned the changes, some fresh legs on the field for both sides, and the younger team for Euless, just about 24 and a half years old compared to the 31 and a half for the Blacks D3 side. Experience on the Black side, but size and speed for the Texans. We're starting to see that here in the second half. Had a great come from behind win yesterday.
Right there, man. If Ahavela getting up, keeping the ball in touch and in possession.
I mentioned their 26-20 victory in the semifinals over the San Marcos Grays. Euless, they were down 20-0 at half. They woke up in the second half, and they made sure that wasn't the case today.
So there's a free kick here to the Blacks for some reason, and the Texans' yellow card's back on the field.
Juricevic takes it short. Texans over their own 22-meter line, trying to get something going. On to Cini, left wing, Cini around Tomey, nice stiff arm, cuts back, stays in play.
This is, like I said, this is where Cini was dangerous yesterday. And they were able to keep him in touch, but they left their feet at that breakdown.
Juricevic, quick restart. Blacks over the midfield line.
Texans weren't back 10 on that penalty.
Juricevic looking to take advantage. He's looking to restart quickly, senses he may be able to catch this side from Euless napping, so to speak.
And Euless has had a string of penalties here, something they haven't had in the first half. They don't really need right now because they're 2 tries up. They need to just settle down, not commit the penalties. O'Gara's just warned them of that. Hey, you've got your yellow card back on here, but you're looking at a possible repeated penalty yellow card.
Juricevic sends his kick into touch, and as you mentioned, 2 tries and 2 conversions away from tying are the Blacks. Final 20 minutes of this match, and right now, Texans of Euless, they just need to keep their heads about them. Can't afford to make silly mistakes, give up silly penalties as the line out to the Blacks.
Looks like L.J. Morgan has gone off for the Blacks.
Pena takes it. The ball heading forward, but another whistle from Timmy O'Gara.
The Blacks are 2 men down right now, one in the sin bin. They've got a man going off with a hamstring injury, waiting for their substitute to come back on. Looks like Ricky Schneider is going to be the sub going on.
L.J. Morgan heading off with a hamstring injury. You mentioned the man in the sin bin. We'll see if Euless can take advantage of this numerical superiority, at least for the time being. Now the aforementioned change coming on for Austin. Ricky Schneider, one of those front row men. Another local product on for the Blacks. As Vahe Alvelo, scrum half, puts it in for Euless.
That was a jumble there, but it was knocked on by the Texans in contact.
That was absolutely a jumble. Bodies flying everywhere. Couldn't even see the ball for a few seconds.
It looked like Taufa tried to pick that ball up and go with it from his position, from an 8-man position, and knocked it forward when he picked it up.
Scrum now to Austin. Little waiting for the signal. And another whistle from O'Gara.
And O'Gara's looking.
That's going to be against the Blacks.
Yeah, it's a free kick to the Texans. And calling the Blacks for boring in. They're coming in at an angle on the Texans at the front row, and you can't do that. That's a.
Got to keep your heads and heels in line, back straight, so important, something you know all about. Oh, pushing forward, what a run here. Moving is Lola Tonga. Tonga offloads, he was looking for Foliaki, still with the Texans.
Lola Tonga really wanting to take this match by the horns and say, hey, this is mine. We're gonna win this thing.
Tonga, man inspired. The Texans know if they're able to get another try, that may well be enough to get them the W today inside the final 15 minutes of this match. Still a 14-point lead for the Texans. What a run from Lola Tonga. Everyone back defending for the Blacks, trying to bow their neck.
Blacks need to be getting up faster and setting that pillar and post at these breakdowns, because that's where the Texans are going to strike at. Blacks got possession.
Yeah, Blacks possession, able to kick it out of their own end. Tomey receives it. Tomey cuts it back to the far side.
Pena grabs Tomey by the collar. Got just low enough to not attract a dangerous tackle penalty.
Fiello heading forward with the head of steam.
Foliaki then.
Electing to keep things very central are the Texans. 2-3 meters at a time.
They certainly don't mind just pounding the ball straight up field, first receiver style.
Now they've got the bodies to do it. No reason to send it wide, lose ground inside the 22-meter line. Ball on the turf. Texans able to pick it up and retain possession. Well defended by the Blacks. Again, Tonga taking things into his own hands.
After the contact, man, that's something else.
Talking about 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Out it goes. Foliaki around one, still on his feet. Big Lee.
He's already scored 2 tries, 1 try this way.
Inside the 5-meter line, just shy of the uprights. Were they able to dot it down?
No, it's double movement there.
No, they were not.
Double movement by Eric Fiello.
Quick restart from Juricevic. Out to Cini. Some room here to the near side. Offloads. Back to Juricevic.
Juricevic knocked on in contact, trying to put it back, and he put it forward.
Texans with it. Final minutes of the match. Texans lead 19-5. 2016 Red River Rugby Championship Men's Division III final winner headed to Tucson, Arizona.
Texans knocked it on there. No advantage was gained by Juricevic to knock on.
And the Texans know if they're able to get another try, that's going to be able that will seal the deal.
And now the Blacks yellow card comes back on. Sutton's back on the field. Excuse me, Dutton. It's Dutton.
Impressive the heart both of these teams showing late in this one. Fatigue certainly setting in, but Right now it's all about will, strength of will. Who wants it more? Scrum to Euless.
Looking at that monitor, it's amazing just the size difference you can visually see between the two scrums here.
Yeah, in the professional games you get the pack weights. We're not privy to that information, but you've got to be sure that that is a few 100-pound advantage for the men from Euless as Talfa goes forward. Lola Tonga had it. Tonga back with it. Tonga bowling ahead. Euless smelling the try like sharks, smelling blood in the water. Yet to dot it down. Talfa does so. Try Euless.
Lola Tonga. Yeah, he may have knocked it on. He may have let Fiala knock it on last time, but he did get the dive over. Ground it that time. Try time for Euless, 24-5. Less than 10 minutes left.
Great work from Charles Talfa, the lock, and obviously Lola Tonga, the 8-man.
And that was a long, tiring stretch of play for both teams.
We take another look here at the replay. Great work from our camera crew, and you see Foliaki right there in the mix as Tonga heading forward.
Gets the errant ball, drives over. Look at that.
And you see the emotion from Foliaki, the rest of his teammates. They are ecstatic. They know with less than 10 minutes remaining in the match, now a 19-point lead, chance to make it 21. They are on their way to Tucson, just minutes away from booking that flight out to Arizona.
Tonga made sure to dot that one down right in front of O'Gara, who was already in goal.
Kick is up and good. The conversion is true, 26-5. Texans on top of the Blacks. Men's Division III final live from Huns Field here in Austin, Texas.
Don't get me wrong, the Blacks can score 3 converted tries in this amount of time, but they haven't been able to do that today. So it's going to be very tough. They know they can do it. They've done it before, but it's just going to be very tough for them to do against the defense that the Texans have offered up today.
And Grant, those are the first points scored of the second half.
They are. Here we are, 30 minutes into the second half, and that's the first point scored. It's been a slugfest, back and forth.
It has been a slugfest, a heavyweight title fight, a 15-rounder, back and forth, headshots, body blows, as Foliaki unable to come down with it. One of the few mistakes we've seen from Big Lee today is starting to feel a bit of rain here. We knew we were going to be in for it, just a matter of when. Again, 2 matches on tap, men's D2 final to follow. Then we will have the women's Division I final to wrap up our weekend of rugby. So please, you could join us. Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel powered by T5RDG. And again, a happy Mother's Day to all of you. So happy you could spend some of it with us. Hope the moms are hanging out, feet up. They work so hard. This is the one day they shouldn't have to. Blacks, they are not going to give up the ghost, but that ball finds itself. And shrieking down is
Pahulu.
Pahulu. Actually, I think that was Kava. I think that was Stanley Kava. We're going to have to get confirmation. But either way, the try will be, and indeed it was Kava, so the try for Stanley Kava, he found a gift and said, thank you very much, not looking the gift horse in the mouth, and that will surely do it.
Yeah, that'll definitely put it away for the Texans. They booked their trip to Tucson now.
So Potomac with an opportunity. We take another look here. Here is the replay. That pass behind, and Kava indeed just says, thank you very much.
It was on target to Cini, but Cini was just too far out. Kava stepped inside, got the cherry pick, did well to pick up the bobble, got just enough steps ahead of Dutton to be able to burn him.
The only reason I knew it was Kava instead of Pahulu, I thank them. Pahulu has the bright neon yellow shoes. It is the neon pink/orange for Kava.
So
the only distinction I could figure out.
Got it. One's 23, the other's 13.
Exactly.
In numbers, so you got to tell them by the shoes. good eyeballs there on you, Kit McConaughey.
You remember the old days when you had all black shoes. Thankfully, we've got the neon now, so a little bit of a difference. Broadcasters like you and I are certainly thankful for that. But that now a 33-5 lead. Texans on top of the Blacks.
4 converted tries up. That's a tough one. And, you know, look at that. Tanifa's coming off. He's been such a battle horse.
What a
today.
game it's been by the hooker.
Really had a great game.
And I must
like
say,
the Blacks have made a couple of changes as well.
Euless, they were able to come back from that 20-0 deficit in their semifinal against San Marcos yesterday. They played a very poor first half, and they would admit that themselves, as that is fielded by Esek Mahe. But they did not make the same mistake. They knew they had to play the full 80 minutes today, and they've done just that. An up-and-coming team here in the Red River Rugby Championship for Men's Division III. We will have to see, but certainly appears that way. What a display we've seen today from the Texans of Euless.
And the way Euless is lined up, they're ready just to keep doing what they were doing.
Everyone in tight. It used to be there was Sharkey out to the far side. Vahe, a few guys, but nope, everyone keeping it tight. Nice movement here.
And now Lola Tonga, he's got some space.
Tonga around one. Dutton can't pull him down. What a move by Lola Tonga. Tonga over the try line. Dots it down. Try time, Lola Tonga. What a move by the big man. We saw one earlier from Folokai. That was more impressive.
And I may owe Dallin Stanford some money for this, but he rounded Dutton like a parked car.
What a move by Lola Tonga. As we said, Foliaki, the big 300-pound lock, had a beautiful move. But that time, just a very simple ankle breaker. Beautiful run by Lola Tonga. Another look here. Here's the move. Dutton goes one way, Tonga the other. Feigns outside, goes inside. Tonga says, "See you later." Does the San Mateo, California native. By the way, he weighs 255 pounds.
255 pounds, putting a move on like that. You should feel the earth move once he makes that step back to the inside.
All smiles on the Texans side, as you might imagine. Potomac, the conversion opportunity on the way. Up and through. Now a 35-point lead, 40-5 Texans on top of the Blacks. Everyone in Forest Green slapping hands, smiles, and you can certainly understand why.
We said earlier this may come down to fitness in the last 20 minutes of the match, and it definitely has here. The Blacks are worn down. The Texans did a smart thing by just slugging it forward into breakdowns, and then releasing it to the outside. And that's really what broke this game open for
The thing I really like is after that, the celebration as the rain starts to fall here at Huns Rugby Field in East Austin, is Tonga pointed back to Taufa, who got things started on that, and he said, "Thank you." It's a team sport. I mean, for all the great run that Tonga had, he knows that without his teammates, it would all be for naught.
That's correct.
Rain starting to fall.
But I don't think the Texans really mind that.
I don't think they care whatsoever. They are going to celebrate rain or shine. That is not going to affect them one bit. 40-5 Texans on top of the Blacks D3. Trophy presentation coming up to follow. Make sure you stick with us to that. That will be accepted by the team captain of the Texans, and you can say that with just a few minutes remaining and a 35-point advantage for the men from the mid-cities as they go ahead and kick into touch.
Samunga's come on now, and not that his speedy presence really needs to be here, but
yeah, I certainly hope you'll stick with us. A reminder, we've got 2 more games on tap and hope they're as entertaining as this has been. What a display from Euless. The Texas Rugby Union president will be presenting that trophy It'll be Kirk Tate, as you might imagine. He will be the presenting party. We thank him and Texas Rugby Union. And I have a feeling that that trip home for the Texans is going to be a lot quicker than the trip down was.
Joyful, yes. You know, Kirk Tate is my third favorite Longhorn.
Your third favorite Longhorn.
Yes.
That's high praise coming from
yes.
the maroon man over to my left.
My first being J. Frank Dobie, and my second being Berkeley Breathed, and then Kirk Tate. So he's in high company.
He is in high company. J. Frank Dobie. That's impressive. Haven't heard that name in a while. You never know what you're going to get on a rugby broadcast. We will certainly make it entertaining for you. The Blacks continuing to fight to the very end. None of these sides willing to concede defeat.
No give there. They kept coming. And the Blacks aren't making a whole lot of mistakes here. They're just getting beat on the outside on the scoring.
We mentioned it coming in. This match, it was youth versus experience. The 30-year-olds of the Blacks, the young 20-year-olds of the Texans, and those fresh legs, they have proven their worth. May not have the rugby experience, the veteran leaders, but they certainly know how to play, and they've demonstrated that today. Has Euless back, Potomi fields it, but the whistle before the kick.
We're definitely into extra time here.
Now, what a game this has been, entertaining from the jump. Rain starting to fall, that will certainly play a factor, but strangely enough, see some clear skies over towards the south. We'll see which way this is going. Had an 80% chance of rain at 1 p.m. today. Maybe lucky enough for that to be a passing shower, and we'll certainly be thankful for that if that is indeed the case.
Alex Lamada in the game, he loses it forward, and Timmy Guerra's got to be looking towards his eye. He's going to have a yellow card there. Offsides, multiple, and I'm not seeing who's going off. It looks like the hooker replacement.
It's Talfa and Foliaki next to each other, number 4 and 5, those two locks.
And if O'Gara looks at his watch, he's going to see we're in extra time now.
That is a massive humanity between Talfa and Foliaki.
So this looks like what's probably going to be the final scrum. The Texans need to reorganize a little bit because their hooker's off with the yellow card. With the yellow card.
Vai Alvelo.
Claude Lenny, definitely a little emotional there.
Emotions aplenty here at the end of this match, as you might expect. I don't think anyone anticipated this outcome. The Blacks certainly didn't. You and I, for that matter, didn't either. I had the opportunity to watch Euless play yesterday, knew they were a good side, but they did the thing we questioned. Could they string together an entire 80 minutes? They've been able to do so impressively. And there is the final whistle. Your 2016 Red River Rugby champion, men's Division III, the Euless Texans. Final score 40-5. Euless on top of the Austin Blacks. They are your Division III champions. They are headed to Tucson.
And they've got to be very happy about that. They fought for this last year. They got defeated in the same game against Dallas Athletic Club. And they've got to be very happy about coming back this year, regrouping, bringing some youth into the club, and making sure they can go this year.
Grant Cole, Kit McConico with you. A reminder, the trophy presentation coming up next. Kirk Tate, president of the Texas Rugby Union, the presenter. But Grant, quickly, your analysis of this match.
All Texans all the time, with a couple of exceptions for the Blacks at the end of the first half. But, you know, the Texans did what they needed to do. Drive forward, use their strength, which is their size, get it going down the field, move it into the Blacks into the field, and then get it to the speedsters and let them do their magic. That's what the Texans had to do. That's what they did. That's how they beat the Blacks today.
Very impressive match. Our first of 3 on tap. Men's Division II final coming up next. Then Our final match of the weekend will be the Women's Division I, all here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel and all powered by T5RDG. So please, you could join us. A happy Mother's Day, and I have a feeling there's some mothers in Euless that are pretty happy right now.
Well, judging by the fans,
they're probably all here.
They're probably all here.
Yeah, you're right about that one.
I mean, as you saw Lola Tonga going into the tries on that last time, he blew a kiss at his mother who was over in the sideline.
Yeah, Mrs. Tonga over there saying, I will certainly take that trophy as a Mother's Day present. That's about as good as it's going to get. And hats off to the Blacks for the domination by the Texans. Blacks never gave up the ghost, played very well. No reason to hang their head whatsoever.
And one thing you see a lot of times in a match that's this dominant is you see the losing team slow down, hang their heads, and they didn't see that out of the Blacks. The Blacks kept it going. They were strong with it.
Now the trophy presentation. We send you over to the 2016 Red River Rugby champion side, Men's Division III, the Texans of Euless.
Here we have Kirk Tate presenting the trophy to the Euless Texans. Even in their D3 trophy, it's definitely a solid cup to be able to use.
I'm feeling that may be filled pretty quickly. There are your champions, 2016 D3 Red River Rugby Conference, the Euless Texans over the Austin Blacks, 40-5 the final score, well deserved. What a performance by those men from the Mid-Cities. They will enjoy this long into the night, and rightfully so. That will be a very pleasant journey back home. A reminder, more matches coming up. You should certainly stick with us for those. We will take a quick break. Then it'll be Men's Division II coming up next. Grant, I know you're ready for that match.
Yeah, Men's Division II. It's going to be a serious match between Hurt and Little Rock. Two solid teams, two teams that are very evenly matched. Going to have a great referee out in the TRRA president, Butch Neuenschwander, former USN Navy commander. And you guys need to stay tuned to us here on the Texas Rugby Union website for more.
One last time for Grant Cole, I'm Kit Meconico. The final from Huntsfield in Austin. Your 2016 Red River Rugby Conference champion, the Euless Texans. Final score 40-5 as they take down the Austin Blacks. Men's Division II final coming up next here on the Texas Rugby Union YouTube channel powered by T5RDG.